I would, are we ready to go here, Dino? Okay. I would start with R14, just a simple resistor, a 47 kilo ohm. So this thing makes it really easy. It gives you all the resistors right here in this one pack. And R14, where is it here? It's going to be, and I'm not seeing, oh, there it is. Right here, R14. Super easy. I'm going to take it out of here, and then we're going to put it in the board, and I believe that goes right next to the Q4. So I'm going to put R14, there it is right there. And before I put it in, I'm going to double check, before I solder, I'm going to double check to make sure I got the right color code. I probably should have did that before I stuck it in the board here. Hopefully this goes better for you than it is for me here. There we go. And it says the color code is yellow, violet, orange. So looking at this thing, yep, I see a yellow, a purple, which is violet, and orange. So we definitely have the right resistor in R14. So now we're ready to solder this, and my transistor fell out. I should have bent the leads, but that's okay because you can put those in yourself. Of course, I should have some solder and my iron. Once again, you're gonna have your sponge wet, your iron hot. Make sure you tin your iron and clean it, and then tin it again so we're ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna put this down on the pad, and remember we want to be able to melt solder on the opposite side of the pad right here. Once I can do that, then we're ready to go, and we're done. Do the same thing here, and we're done. Okay, seems fairly simple, correct? After I have that one done, I'm going to put an X through it. Now we're ready to move on to something different. Now I want to show you how to do the C11 here, which is a capacitor. So C11 is a 10 microfarad capacitor. So I'm going to look for my capacitor bag, and here it is right here. This one's just full of capacitors. And I'll open this up here. Looking for the 10, and the 10's right on top. There it is. Okay. The reason why I want to do a capacitor with you is just for a reminder of the polarity of a capacitor matters. And when we talk about polarity, we talk about positive and negative. So if you remember, on capacitors, one lead is long and one lead is short, just like on LEDs. The long lead is positive, the short lead is negative. Another way that you can tell is the negative side has that stripe on it that literally has a minus sign on there that means negative. So we need to make sure that when we're putting this in the board that we're putting it in the correct way. If we put this in backwards, it's not going to function properly. So once again, I'm going to look for that C11, and it looks like it's just right below that resistor that we put in. You can see it gives us a plus sign here. Yes, that means that that's definitely positive. The curve on the capacitor symbol means negative. So I'm going to put the short end in the negative, the long end in the positive, just like that. Once again, we're going to go ahead and solder this up. I can't solder with a pen. I'm going to melt some solder on the pad here. Unless I shut my iron off. There we go. Done. And then get this one as well. There we go. Done. Okay. All right. So I want you to move through this whole list here and get both these pages done. This is your Thursday and Friday lab project. I'll also have a couple questions that go with each day. Other concerns that I might have here, you know, the jumper wire that shows you to solder in here, all the jumper wire literally is just a wire going from point A to point B. And so for that, you could use a paper clip as to go from point A to point B, or use a lead to go from point A to point B. Another concern of mine is the potentiometer. This is the potentiometer. This is our volume knob for our radio. Make sure that you get this thing in here right. I messed around with it just a little bit. It took me probably about a minute to get it in here correctly. And you need to make sure that you might have to bend the leads a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean just a little bit to get them to go in all the holes. And once you have them all the holes, then you can go ahead and just solder, 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 solder on each spot right there. If there's anything in here that you don't feel comfortable doing, don't do it. We'll talk about it together, or you know, maybe I can take a video of just that part, me doing it or something like that. But I would rather have you not solder in stuff that you're unsure of how to do, and wait until you know what to do. So if there's anything on this sheet that you don't feel comfortable doing, please don't do it until we have a talk about it. Okay. Other than that, that should be pretty much it, students. Best of luck to you with this. If things aren't going well, stop what you're doing. Don't worry about getting it done by the due date if it's not going well. I'd rather have you stop and we'll figure out how to do it right than to do a whole bunch of stuff wrong, because otherwise it just makes more and more stuff to fix. Okay, if your soldering iron doesn't seem like it's getting hot enough, or the solder doesn't seem to be melting right, or something like that, don't continue. We'll figure it out before we move further. Okay. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.